Hey folks, good morning and welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. Today we're doing our very first food video and we're going to be doing barbecued ribs on the grill with charcoal and wood for fuel. And I'm also going to show you how to make a great mustard barbecue sauce like you find in the Carolinas. So stick around and we're going to go through this great recipe. As always, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notifications button so that you can get more great content from Wilderness Wargaming. Okay, so let's get our fire started. We're running a little bit behind schedule this morning because we had pancakes earlier that my second daughter, Jessica, made for us. And just got done cleaning up the kitchen. And she's off with her mom and her best friend to go buy prom dresses. There, by the way, is our last family member, Valkyrie, who loves to be out in the backyard anytime I am. She's just patrolling the property there. So we're going to go ahead and get the fire started. And what I like to use is this Oklahoma Joe's fire starter chimney. Now, I like this one a lot because it is very, very sturdy. If you look at it, you'll see that the steel is somewhat thicker than in a normal one of these you get at the store. So it's a little bit sturdier. And I can attest to this because I've dropped it once or twice, unfortunately. And it's mostly okay. I've had it for about 2 years now, I think. But it has done a great job for me. I find that this wider but shorter chimney is very, very efficient for starting charcoal. It's significantly better than the taller, narrower ones that you see a lot more often. And what we're going to do is put in some HEB mesquite charcoal. HEB is our grocery store here, and their store brand mesquite charcoal, super common in Texas, is really good for barbecuing. And their charcoal has not failed me in the last 10 or 11 years that I've been using it. Okay, so unfortunately our bag was a little empty, so I'm going to go get the other bag that I bought and fill it up, and we'll get the fire started. Okay, so now we're nice and full, and this thing holds about 100 charcoal briquettes, and we're going to go ahead and get it started. All right, folks, so since we're still new to YouTube, we had a little bit of a snafu during the rib preparation process, and that video unfortunately ended up being a video of the kitchen ceiling rather than me getting the ribs ready. So we're going to go over what happened a little bit real quick, and then we'll get back to the ribs themselves in just a second. But I do want to show you what I did with the ribs. So ingredients I put on there: uh, regular salt from local grocery, black pepper from the local grocery, paprika, McCormick's brand is fine, onion powder, also McCormick's, cumin from McCormick's as well, and the alternate local store brand, Hill Country Fare, garlic powder. Notice the size of this jug. It's because me and my family love garlic. I use garlic on almost every barbecue recipe I do. The only thing that sees more use than this is the salt and pepper. And we usually put a little more garlic than the recipe calls for because it is one of our favorites. And what I use for a binder for ribs is this yellow mustard right here. Now, later on, by special request of my oldest daughter, I am going to make the mustard barbecue sauce, similar to what you find in the Carolinas. It's a family favorite. My wife loves it too. The kids like it. And I like it. I like making it. It's a really great recipe, and I'm going to show you how we do that a little later today when it gets closer to time to serve the ribs. My oldest daughter that's still living at home, Jessica, she's going to be making her mac and cheese as a side, and we're going to have some Prince Edward medley vegetables. Now, what I wasn't able to demonstrate is the removal of the membrane from the bottom of the ribs. So the ribs, when you flip them over and you see the bony side where there's meat just kind of up at the top, there's going to be a membrane on there, and what you want to do is get a knife underneath that. Usually, you're going to use the flat side of the knife, not the sharp edge, and kind of wedge it under there between the bone and that, and then get your finger in there and try to peel that membrane off. And you want to get as much off as you can because they cook a lot better. The smoke gets into the meat better. They're much easier to cut afterwards, and they also taste better because people aren't eating cooked membrane. It's not good. You never want to leave the membrane on. It can be very frustrating to do that because every pig is different. If you luck out, you get one where you can get the knife under there, get a substantial amount of membrane, hook your whole thing off in one go. But sometimes you get one where it just wants to come apart into little stringy bits, and that's kind of what we had today. The membrane was very difficult to deal with, and it's also very slippery, so it'll tend to slide through your fingers. So you really got to kind of get it wrapped around or get underneath it so it can't escape you as you're trying to remove it. Okay, and here we are back outside with our fire going and our dog once again. Fire's looking real good. This is what you want to see. The coals are nice and white with still just a little black, so they haven't really started losing their horsepower yet. Okay. Okay, we got a couple falling up there. Okay, now this is obviously not enough fuel for 6 hours of cooking. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get our first wood added on there. A nice big old chunk of mesquite. Smaller chunk. We get our grill wood here at HEB. It's a purple sack. It gives you those nice big pieces. They got a variety there, but this is my favorite. We're not gonna slide that grate back over there. We're just gonna make sure it's tucked into the grill so the lid shuts properly. And we've already got our foil pre-positioned here. The foil is wide enough that the wide way, it actually stretches from front to back of the grill, so you don't have to worry about getting it the right length. You just pull it out there and make sure you get enough on there. Because of the size of our rib racks, those ones are pretty wide. We're going to go ahead and use a little bit more foil than I normally would. So we'll be back in a second. We're going to get these ribs on here. All right, so here we are with our ribs. Got one rack on, and foil. Oops, got a little kink there. Put a little extra foil out there because these are very wide racks of ribs. Take up a little more room. Number 2 in there. Okay. Our wood's going pretty good. We just had to take a break for a minute. A little emergency inside. Nothing serious. And we're going to go ahead and get this closed up. Man, these ribs those are big racks. I'm having trouble even fitting them in there. Okay. So what we're going to do is come back out and check this in probably an hour to an hour and a half. And then we will add more fuel, most likely at that time. Check on what the temperature is. We can see our temperature here is already starting to rise. Looks like we're going up quick there, getting towards 150. We're also going to shut this up a little bit more, keep that smoke in. And we're going to come over here and close this vent just a little bit. Not all the way, just leave a little bit. We don't want too much air. Our fuel will go too fast, we get too much heat. So that's what we've got for right now, and we'll be back with you shortly with a fuel stoking. All right, folks, we're back to check on the grilling, and we're out here with the grill, and let's have a look at our temperatures. Just under 200 degrees. That is pretty good. We don't want it super hot. Now, the fire, as you'll recall, is over here on this side underneath the lid. I'm not going to open up just yet. I don't want to open it up and be talking because we're letting a lot of heat escape there. But this type of gauge right here is greatly affected by where you put the fire in the grill. Okay, if it's directly under there, this gauge will be up significantly higher than it would be with the fire off to the side. And we're going to stoke it up a little bit. Now, what we got here for stoking, these are my favorite grilling tongs right here. I like these. They don't have wide tips, but they do kind of come into the center a little bit, and they grab things really well. They're also not extra long. When we go on trips, these ones are not too cumbersome to take in the car for grilling supplies. So let's have a look and see what we got. Okay, our fire's looking good. The ribs are starting to come along, not too quickly. I've got a little ash from the lid there. And it's cool enough that we can kind of touch them without too much trouble. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to move the wood around a little bit. This thicker piece here, we want to get that turned over. This will help it get stoked up a bit. And then we're going to just put in 2 more pieces. I may have to go back and get a little bit more tomorrow for the brisket, but we got enough for right now. Okay, see, we're already starting to get smoke again. And if we look at the meat is starting to cook on the outside, but it's nowhere near done. But that's good. It's still going to be absorbing mesquite flavor. Let's go ahead and get this shut so we're not cooling off too much. Okay, and we'll be back probably to stoke it again once or twice more throughout the cooking process. It's right around noon right now, and we want to probably be done about 6 o'clock this evening. That'll give them enough time to get real nice and tender. Now, get towards the end, and it's not cooked so well. Then we'll maybe put them in the oven, but I usually try not to do that if I can avoid it. One thing down here, we also have these live oak trees, and you see that bin back there. I built that last year because we had our front 2 live oak trees trimmed, and we've got a lot of wood back there. You might wonder why I'm not using that, why I'm using store-bought wood. That stuff does not give a good flavor to food. I have done that before, and it was a mistake. I don't recommend using that. If you're down here in Texas, stick with the mesquite or maybe hickory, but don't try to use scrap wood from your yard trees unless they happen to be mesquite, because you're likely to not get a very good flavor out of it. All right, and we're back again. It's been about 2 hours. Our temperature's fallen down a little bit. It's about 175. So we clearly need to do a little bit more stoking. So let's grab another substantial chunk of wood here. Look at this guy. And open up our firebox. Yeah, we need... Oh, fell down there. The ribs are looking pretty nice. They are a bit dry, so what I'm going to do right after this is get a little apple juice mopped on. Okay, we get those stoked around, and we're going to get another piece of wood in there. Okay, and that should get us going again. Okay, and it might be a little hard to see, but it's already starting to smoke again a little bit. Now, we're going to do this kind of quick and not let the heat go down too much. Yeah, there we go. Got the smoke coming out. And what we're going to do is, I just got this little bit of juice here. Make it not as unwieldy as bringing the whole big half-gallon thing out here. I'll just pour it on there a little bit, like that. Keep it wet. And then we're going to take this barbecue brush here, this little yellow brush, and we're just going to brush it on there real good. Brush it around there. Keep getting those chips. I need to clean off the roof of this one of these days. Okay? And now that we've done that, what we're going to do is take this here spare piece of foil, and now we're going to put it near the top for the remainder of the cooking. We're a little over halfway done with cooking, and that'll help keep the heat in those, and they don't really need to get any more smoke at this point. Now the smoke is just an indicator that the fire's going. Okay, our temperature's down a little bit, but with that extra wood and the stoking, hopefully it'll come back up. Okay, and this recipe right here is what we're going to be using for the mustard sauce here in a little bit. It is in this book, Big Book of Barbecue from Southern Living. I got this, I want to say almost 15 years ago, and it's got lots and lots of great recipes in it. Mostly slow cooking. They're listed by state. There's also fast cooking ones in here. If you can lay your hands on a copy of this book, it's really good. But this recipe right here has kind of become our family favorite, and it goes great on pork and chicken. Never goes according to plan. We are heading out to the local meat shop, not to get meat. We're going to get baked beans real quick, because apparently my daughter and I had a slight miscommunication in her amazing macaroni and cheese that she's going to make. She was planning to make tomorrow with the brisket, and it's running a little bit late for her to get started. So I'm going to just go around the corner here real quickly to get some baked beans, and we'll have those. Those go well with ribs. And what I'm going to get are some of the local, what they call ranch-style baked beans. They're a little thicker baked bean brand, and then I'm going to probably doctor those up just a little bit. I may add some ketchup, and then even mix in just a little bit of whiskey, give them some flavor. But it's going to depend a little what they have. This is not the H-E-B, the big grocery store. This is a little local meat market that's right around the corner, and which I like to patronize. And okay, folks, so we're back from the store now. I usually look for beans on the ranch style beans here with sweet onion in them. The cans already opened up. I'm just going to put them in this here pan. We're going to doctor these up with. Yeah, there's a little bit of this Texas Bold barbecue sauce. Now, my youngest daughter, Jamie, she loves this stuff. Puts it on pretty much everything. She probably won't eat the mustard sauce tonight, but she has to have it. I'm just going to put just a little bit, just enough to cover the top there. Give it a little extra flavor. And then you're also going to add a shot of this Bullet bourbon. If you're not familiar with this brand, it's reasonably inexpensive bourbon. The best price we have down here is $22 for this, for a slightly smaller bottle than this. I think this bottle is about $30. just going to fill up our little shot glass here, toss it on in there, and then we'll just stir it up and get it going on low heat. Yeah. Okay. As soon as it starts steaming, we'll turn that heat down a little bit more. Right around half an hour or so. We'll stir those up a little bit, and they're already looking good. We haven't even got them going yet, have we? All right, we'll be back shortly to do the mustard sauce. Okay, we're getting ready to make our mustard sauce now. We got the ingredients lined up. We got black pepper there, and mustard, vinegar, chili powder, white pepper, red pepper. A lot of pepper in this one. It calls for ground red pepper. This is crushed. I think it's just as good. Hot sauce, sugar, and cider vinegar. I'm going to probably lighten up on the sugar a little bit. It calls for half a cup of that. I'm probably go down to about a third. Takes about 2/3 of a cup of the mustard, 1 cup of the cider vinegar. It's actually the biggest ingredient. And then 2 tablespoons of chili powder. I may lighten that up a little bit too because the kids, if you make it too spicy, they're not going to be able to eat it. And then we've got 1 tablespoon each of the 1 teaspoon each of white and black pepper. And then just small amounts of the red pepper and hot sauce. Now, there are 2 more ingredients, butter and soy sauce, but you don't mix those in until after you have simmered this for about 10 minutes. You boil it first, simmer it for 10 minutes, and then you mix those things in once it's removed from the heat. All right, we have got our mustard sauce all assembled in the pot. We got the heat up here about 2/3, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. Not too quick, but not too slow either. Now, it looks like that initially. It always looks like that. The mustard kind of wants to glomp together until it starts to get hot, and then it'll break apart and get a little bit more uniform. Okay, we're about almost at a boil here with the mustard sauce, and our beans are looking pretty nice. Took those down to lower heat. I might bump it up just a tad. Give them a quick stir. There we go. My friendly teapot helps me out. Quick stir. Yeah, beans are looking real nice. And then over here on the sauce. Just stir it around a little bit. I really wish I could record smell because the stuff smells really nice as it's cooking. All right, so now we're back. We've boiled it. We got a nice simmer going now. Now you'll notice it's more of a brown than an actual yellow. Even though it's mustard, that's to the other ingredients. You have to make sure you watch this stuff because the sugar in there, if you start boiling, you don't pay attention, it will just basically fuse to the bottom. You'll get a god-awful mess in the pan. But we've managed to avoid that. We're in real good shape here. We're going to let it simmer just a few more minutes, and then we're going to put the butter and soy sauce in, and that'll be ready. And then over here, our beans are just about ready too. So we're going to be right on schedule to eat just a little bit after 6 o'clock. All right, we're going to check these. Yeah, let's them out of there. Looking nice and red. Yeah, that's very good. I like that coloration a lot. We've done well. We still got some good heat going from the fire. It's almost 6:15, so we're running a little behind, but this is not a high-stress evening. We have nowhere to be. Nothing to worry about. So we're going to go till 6:30. The beans and the sauce are basically ready. My wife's heating up a bag of Prince Edward's medley from the frozen vegetables. It's one of our favorites. Real easy. Mix of green and yellow beans and carrots. Keeps life simple. So we're going to be eating shortly. I'll pull them off. Now, the way I like to serve them is to just cut them into onesies and twosies. I used to cut them into sections of 3 or 4, but it tends to be too much for the kids. It's easy that way. People can just be a little more selective on how much rib they want. All right, and here we have the final product. These are nice and tender. I cut into them already on the grill, make sure they were done, and they're going to come apart real good. I think everybody's about ready to eat. I see we have 2 in here already that are very hungry, and somebody who's prowling around looking for a little bit of rib that she can get her teeth around. So we're going to get these on the table and have dinner. Thanks again for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell so you can get more content from Wilderness Wargaming.